Thanks for joining us on Plus TV Africa. I'm Benga Aborowa. The Supreme Court has called off the trial of Senate President Bukola Saraki on assets declaration. In the lead judgment on Friday, Justice Sentus Nweze upheld Saraki's appeal and dismissed the federal government's appeal, noting that the prosecution's evidence was entirely hearsay. The Senate President had approached the court over the decision of the federal government through the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to try him again before the Code of Conduct Tribunal, which had earlier set him free. Meanwhile, with the rising of the RAPC faction, the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, has denied any plans to defect to the People's Democratic Party. This is coming in the wake of several newspaper and online reports that the former new PDP bloc of the All Progressive Congress will announce their exit from the mainstream of the party in preparation to join the People's Democratic Party. It was reported that the group, which includes Senate President Bukola Saraki, Speaker of the House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara, and a former governor of Kano State, Rabiu Kwankwaso, were set to lead a coalition of political parties and interest groups to challenge President Muhammadu Buhari. I spoke with Mr. Yusuf Olaniyonu, the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, and he categorically stated that the information was false and the Senate President had no such plans to leave the ruling APC.
There is nothing like that now. Obviously, there is nothing like that. And everybody saw them on TV today presiding over their respective chambers in the parliament. And if they are defecting, you have to announce that on the floor of the parliament, and they won't change seats and nothing like that. Even Senator Kwankwaso. All I know is that he is a member of the APC. He's presiding over the affairs of the Senate as the Senate President and Chairman of the National Assembly.
The National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Adams Oshiomhole, has said that the party will not be distracted by the emergence of a faction of the party. Oshiomhole stated this on Thursday after meeting with some APC lawmakers, including the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, at the National Assembly. Despite dismissing the reformed APC, Oshiomhole promised that the APC, under his leadership, would carry on engaging other members of the political party to ensure it is united ahead of the 2019 general elections. Oshiomhole's comment comes 24 hours after a faction, the reformed All Progressive Congress, emerged with Buba Galadima appointed as the chairman. The Independent National Electoral Commission says over 630,000 voters have collected their permanent voters' cards and will be participating in the Ekiti State governorship elections on the 14th of July. INEC, however, lamented that with less than 9 days to go, over 280,000 persons had not yet collected their PVCs. Commissioner supervising Ekiti State election, Prince Adedeji Shoyebi, revealed this during the quarterly meeting with the media in Abuja on Thursday. He said 280,000 persons will not be allowed to vote if they do not claim their PVCs. In his remarks, the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, said the full report of the Kano State local government election in which children were said to have voted will be published on the Commission's website today. With the 80 billion naira investment made by the French government to boost the transportation sector in Lagos, the Lagos state government seems ready to forge ahead with its blueprint for an effective system of transport. At a briefing yesterday, officials of the state government unveiled their strategy and took stock of the achievement.
Lagos, the city of excellence and aquatic splendor, home to an estimated 17 million people. Transportation remains a key component in a city as busy as Lagos. The menace of heavy-duty goods and haulage trucks have become a road hazard.
So we're here at the Echo FM Multipurpose Hall for the third Lagos Traffic Radio Lecture Series, hosted by the Lagos Traffic Radio and the Lagos State Government. The theme of the lecture is Lagos State Transport and Infrastructural Support Systems.
The number of vehicles per kilometer in Lagos is about 234 vehicles per kilometer, whereas in advanced countries about 50 to 60. But in Lagos, we have 234 vehicles per kilometer.
Based on the directive of the Lagos State Government to ensure that articulated vehicles and tankers that is, tank vehicles are road bodies on our roads. Lagos State government has given that directive that whoever wants to apply the Lagos State in terms of the vehicle owners must ensure their vehicles are road bodies. And this has been ongoing for a while. But in order to ensure that all stakeholders are inclusive in this directive, Lagos State government has met with all stakeholders, and at that meeting, we have all agreed that we must give them time to go back and ensure they have roadworthy vehicles on our road.
We have this policy called the Road Transport Safety Standardization Policy, which tends to address the issue of standards among all fleet operators, not just trucks, but all fleet operators. And it has three integral components: the company safety standards, the vehicle safety standard, and of course, the driver's safety standards.
In today's lecture, the stakeholders of various sectors come together to propose solutions to the prevalent traffic situation in Lagos State. I am Susan Jasper, reporting for Plus TV Africa.
When we return, we'll bring you news making the headlines from across Africa and the rest of the world. Do stay with us. The United States has terminated funding to 3 Zimbabwean human rights and pro-democracy groups 3 weeks before an election. A move analysts say could undermine the credibility of the country's first post-Mugabe vote. A U.S. Embassy spokesman said the decision by USAID, Washington's aid arm, to pull the plug followed a regular internal audit that discovered unusual activity and non-compliance in the use of funds without providing any further details. China's Commerce Ministry says the country has no choice but to fight back after the United States imposed 25% tariffs on various Chinese imports. The ministry said in a statement that on the 6th of July, the United States began to impose 25% tariffs on $34 billion worth of Chinese products. The U.S. has breached WTO trade rules and launched the largest trade war in economic history to date. The Trump administration's new 25% duties apply to 818 Chinese products worth $34 billion. They are in the first stage in levies threatened by the U.S. on a total package of $450 billion worth of Chinese goods. China warned that while it promised not to fire the first shot, it will now be forced to counterattack in order to defend its core interests. Beijing has vowed to inform the World Trade Organization and work with other countries to jointly safeguard free trade and the multilateral system. A former Thai military diver involved in operations to rescue 12 boys trapped in a cave in northern Thailand has died. Chiang Rai Deputy Governor Pasakon Bunyalok said today. The diver, identified as a retired Navy Petty Officer First Class Samankunam, died on his way out of the Tham Luang Cave complex after going in to supply one of the chambers with oxygen tanks on Thursday night. The Deputy Governor maintained that the casualty has not dampened the morale of the rescuers. In Mexico, 24 people have been killed in the city of Tultepec, which is renowned for its mesmerizing and dangerous pyrotechnic shows. Among the deceased were the first responders who rushed to the scene. The blast struck the factory, which had been operating without a license, at about 9:30 a.m. on Thursday as firefighters, police officers and members of the Civil Protection Service arrived at the scene. The initial blast triggered a chain reaction, resulting in at least 3 more explosions. Of the 24 victims, 17 died on the spot, and a further 7 were pronounced dead at the hospital. Luis Felipe Puente, the head of Mexico's Civil Defense Agency, had blamed the tragedy on the mishandling of gunpowder, saying that the blast tore up the clandestine facility that lacked government authorization. We'll bring you business news after this. And in business, a nationwide audit of all Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation's subsidiary field operations has commenced as announced by NNPC on Thursday. The operation is to take place in the downstream subsidiary NNPC Retail Limited, which deals with the supply and distribution of petroleum products. The audit is aimed at ensuring that all delisted trucks comply with the requirement to remove NNPC logo and other brand-related attributes on such trucks, as said by Undu Ugwamadu, the General Manager, Public Affairs Division. He also said this will help validate that only NNPC retail tested and certified trucks bear the company's logo and other company features. He re-emphasized that all NNPC retail trucks were operating under the most stringent safety protocols and were also roadworthy. The strength of the Naira against the greenback has appreciated significantly to 375 Naira per dollar on the parallel markets, as reported on Thursday. This also reflected in the buying rate of the dollar, as the greenback sold at 359 Naira to a dollar as against 360 to a dollar, which was its previous rate. The strength of the Naira can be attributed to the boost in the country's external reserve, which moved from $47.472 billion as of the 4th of June 2018 to $47.798 billion on Wednesday. Also, the recent directive by the Central Bank of Nigeria to all bureau-de-change operatives to henceforth access Forex from CBN 3 times a week or risk having their license reviewed has increased Forex liquidity and also strengthened the Naira. The South African Reserve Bank has disclosed today that South Africa's net foreign reserve has dropped from $42.872 billion in May to $42.447 billion in June. There was also a significant drop in the gross reserve, which fell from $51.146 billion to $50.582 billion, as shown by the central bank data. On a decline was the forward position, which dropped from $1.918 billion to $1.809 billion, representing the swap transactions, also known as unsettled transactions in the central bank. Still ahead on Plus TV News is our news roundup on sports and entertainment. We'll be back in a moment.
In entertainment, upcoming Nollywood Yoruba actress Yetunde Akinlapa was brought before an Ikeja Chief Magistrate Court and indicted with breaking and entry and stealing goods worth 7 million naira. The K2 resident, who has pleaded not guilty, is on trial on a 3-count charge. Police prosecutor Benson Emueri, while giving his testimony, said the accused was arrested while trying to enter the apartment of one Mr. Adeboye Lamidi. This isn't the first time Akinlapa has been caught, as she has been involved over time in similar acts before serving time in Kirikiri prison back in 2013. The actress's debut into Nollywood was in 2013 in a Yoruba movie titled Ileri Oluwa. She has been granted bail to the tune of 200,000 naira, given 2 conditions of gaining employment and evidence of 2 years tax payment to the Lagos State government. The case has been adjourned till the 22nd of October 2018. Golden Globe Award winner Idris Elba is in final talks to star as the villain in the Fast and Furious spin-off titled Hobbs and Shaw. Elba is to star alongside Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. It will be directed by David Leitch, while the screenplay will be written by Chris Morgan. The movie is scheduled for release next year. English actress from the series The Crown, Vanessa Kirby, is also billed to join the Universal Pictures project. Elba is currently working on creating, producing, and starring in a Netflix comedy series titled Turn Up Charlie. American television radio host, a political commentator, and a sports broadcaster, Ed Schultz, is dead. The death was confirmed on Thursday by his employer, RT America, who released a statement saying the 64-year-old actor passed quietly early in the morning on the 5th of July at his home in Washington, D.C. Schultz began hosting his own show in 2009 after 20 years of covering sports and politics before it was cancelled in 2015. His RT America show began airing in 2016, and sources say he died of natural causes and was survived by Wendy Schultz, his wife, and their 6 children. And that's it on entertainment. The very best in sports right after this.
Hello and welcome to Sport Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko. Going straight to the games that will be going down later today in Russia 2018 World Cup. Talking about the quarterfinals of the games. France will battle Uruguay for a place in the semifinals at the Nizhny Novgorod Stadium. And Uruguay striker Edinson Cavani missed Monday's training and remains a doubt for the game. And Cavani suffered a calf injury in his right leg in an off-the-ball incident and was replaced after 74 minutes. And Uruguay players are hopeful the 31-year-old, who has scored 3 goals in 4 World Cup games, can make a quick recovery despite having to undergo tests. And the second game of the day will be between Brazil and Belgium at the Luzhniki Stadium. And I'm moving straight to other things in football. Belgian tactician Van der Broek has been selected by the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, to take Zambian football into the promised land. And Van der Broek replaces former coach Wedson Nyirenda, who resigned from the post after having a 1-year reign, to take over at South African side FC Baroka. And Nyirenda spectacularly fell out with the FAZ officials and the Zambian fans. And Van der Broek, a former assistant coach with Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, will be on the same salary wage. That's $10,000 US. Nyirenda was being paid while he was still in charge. And the Belgian tactician was part of Cameroon's 2017 AFCON winning team and has been tasked to take the Zambian qualifiers for next year's tournament in Cameroon. He's expected to hit Zambia on Friday, that's later today, to finalize his contract details and also put pen to paper before he's presented to the media officially. And over to transfers, Italian Serie A side Sassuolo have signed a controversial forward, Kevin Prince Boateng, from German club Frankfurt. And Boateng joined the Frankfurt last summer on a 3-year deal after his contract with Spanish side Las Palmas was cancelled. He has now left the Bundesliga outfit with 2 years left on his contract with the German cup holders. He will be presented later today and by 3 p.m. and returns to Italy, where he had 2 separate spells with Italian giants AC Milan and also won the league during the 2010-2011 season. And in tennis, fixtures for the next round of games in Wimbledon by 2:30, Adrian Manarino will be up against Daniil Medvedev. And by 3 p.m., we'll see Guido Pella, he'll be up against Mackenzie McDonald. And also by 3 p.m., John Isner will be up against Radu Albert, and Stefano Tsitsipas will be taking on Thomas Fabiano. And by 4:30, 2016 runner-up Milos Raonic, seeded 13, faces 24-year-old Austrian Denis Novak, who has never progressed past the 3rd round of a Grand Slam, while 8-time winner Roger Federer, who is 36, plays against the German Jan-Lennard Struff, last on center court in round 3. And Serena Williams has already shown glimpses of her best form at Wimbledon and will be hoping to extend her run with victory over Kristina Mladenovic in the 3rd round later today. And that's it on Sport Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
That's our news roundup of events. We'll be back later today with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I am Benga Aborowa. Have a lovely day.